Again, my name is Tim Ross. I am the co-founder and president of Upswell. A lot of you guys know me from my Mudlick days. Same company, different name. Whole nother story how that name came up. I'll be happy to talk with you guys over that, a few beers. But I've got my dear friend Aaron Stokes, who kind of grew up in the business with me, has successfully ran 6, 7, I lose track, man. He's got auto, he's got domestic, he's got Euro. Then he got really, really bored, so he decided to open up a training company and start a couple of, help a couple of people. Now he's in the hundreds. So Aaron, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you, bud?
I'm very good, man. How is the life in the auto repair industry? I know you're juggling CEO of auto repair and CEO of ShopFix, and sometimes it's like crazy. So tell me a little bit about how things have been going on in your world real quick.
Oh, it's slammed. We are absolutely slammed. Tracking a record month. We were down a little bit in March, a lot of bit in April and May, and way, way up when we came into June, and just tracking an absolute record month. It's interesting. In April, we were way down and definitely lost some money. In May, we were about the same level, a little bit better, but we made money because we were figuring out the tricks, and we just kept adjusting, kept adjusting, kept adjusting. So definitely been a very different time. I'm happy to be back to normal, to see cash returning as far as deposits go, car counts returning, customers back, come in the shops. It's just nice to be getting back to normal.
Yeah, and I would tell you, and you and I probably had, just hundreds of discussions, it seems like, over the last month or so about when's this going to end, and what should I do about my staff, and how do I survive. And so I thought today would be a good opportunity for us to share some tidbits and share some information from all the different companies that we've talked to and all the friends we have in the industry, and so we can help some people out today. What do you think?
That'd be great.
So there's a lot of people signing on, guys. I know I like to start on time, so we're going to keep on going. As I mentioned earlier, everybody's in a mute mode. So if you have questions, please type those questions. I'll be happy to answer those as we go through. But let's start a little bit with some of the stats that we're seeing right now. I think one of the things I thought was important, and Aaron thought was really important, was to kind of show you what's going on before COVID and after COVID. And I will tell you right now that, in my opinion, and I think Aaron would agree, best time to be in the auto repair industry right now. Would you agree, Aaron?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so some of the reasons, guys, and I'll let Aaron share his thoughts, but if you look at some of the stuff on the screen, guys, you look at new car sales prior to COVID, 17.1 million, right? Bank of America right now is predicting about 12.8 million, right? There's a 25% decline, and I bet that number continues to grow as people want to retain their car. They were already holding on to their car longer than normal. Now, with unemployment, with uncertainties, with travel being more automotive than anything else, you're going to see that type of decline happening. Air travel, Aaron, to me, number one, air travel, the amount of people flying, as you can see, 2.5 million to 400,000. I mean, do you agree that automobiles are going to be the mode of transportation for a while?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just was at the beach a couple weeks back, and the interstates were jamming. I mean, it was absolutely blown out. You could not get through the state of Alabama without a traffic jam somewhere heading down to Florida. So people are definitely getting in their cars and getting out of town.
Well, and a lot of you guys are probably already seeing this, and this is where it's exciting that it's the summertime, so hopefully you guys can really grab a hold of this opportunity. But, you can't even hardly get on flights. They keep canceling and are moving them. A lot of people just don't want to get on. They don't trust it yet, even though they've got masks. There's a lot of uncertainty. You couple that with, unemployment issues, or, what happens, you saw recently over the last, really since the 2008, is that people are in the more of a save than spend mode, right? And so this becomes, again, it's cheaper to drive a car and go visit. It's something you can control. And so I think that's going to be a huge windfall for auto repair. And then if you look at public transportation, people don't even want to take the subways. They don't want to take buses. Think about all the potential, virus potential situations that are there, right? Where if you could just take your own car, you kind of eliminate all that. So to me, all that together really is going to bode well for the auto repair industry for quite some time. Any fast kind of last minute comments on that, Aaron, before we move on to the next slide?
Yeah, I was going to say even Uber and Lyft, all of them are having major issues with this. So you're absolutely right. People want their space, they want their car, they want their cell phone charger plugged in and ready to go, and they want their own germs and no one else's. So
that's it. Yeah.
Right.
And as a business owner myself, my team, I mean, we're not flying a whole lot because a lot of you guys, you've seen Aaron all the time on Facebook Live, between Zoom, between GoToMeeting. You know, technology has really grown. I don't know if you guys follow Zoom. Their stock is like up some, I don't know, 3,000%, ridiculous amount. And so it's a cost savings for people to stay local now. So, you know, this is where part of the discussion we're going to have today is, so we know that, right? We know that. How are we telling the people around us that live there? How are we letting them know that we are your preferred auto repair center, that we can help you with those needs? We know you're holding on to your cars, you're driving your cars more. Guys, the next step is going to be, how do you make sure that they choose you and not somebody else? So we're going to go on to the next slide and really start talking about, you know, how do we move forward? So Aaron, I know you get a lot of shop owners. There's 3 different topics I want to talk about, you know, and we can kind of juggle them any way you'd like. But, you know, people still want to grow. They want to grow the automobile repair shop. They want to get their market share, and they've got to move forward. So we talked about opportunities, Aaron. I know you've got a lot of your coaching and your own team, and then you've got your coaching team. What are some of the discussions you guys are running through on, you know, what's the mindset, the owner mindset of, hey, get off your butt, let's go, man. How do you push your guys to move forward?
Well, what you notice is there was a huge panic right before this hit, right? And people were like, what's this going to do to me? How's it going to affect me, my business, my families, etc. Besides the health piece, just the money side of it. And then after we got into the mess and people got the $10,000 EIDL grant, they were like, oh crap, this is real. The government's handing out free money. It must be bad. And then they got PPP money, and we helped coach a lot of guys on how to do that. And then they're going, oh my gosh, okay, we got some PPP money. And then they got EIDL loans. The EIDL loans were considered a dumpster fire. And then those came around and all of a sudden started coming through in the middle of May, going into June. So now people have got more cash than they've ever had. And you see people that have honestly started to relax, not worried anymore. Others that have decided, hey, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go open a second location. And then some that are just still terrified and they're burying the money in the backyard. So what it ends up doing is it separates these different types of mindsets. You have to look at yourself and go, hey, if I've never been able to save money before and I finally got a little jingle in my pocket, is now the time to go open a second store or expand or buy this or buy that? May not quite be the time, because your character, your discipline, your past behavior doesn't actually match up with the cash in your bank account. Subconsciously, you're already trying to get that money going. You're trying to spend it. You need to hold on to it for a hot minute. And those that normally are motivated by fear to go perform, to go make something happen, when they're scared, when they're nervous, and now they got money, they're not scared, they're not nervous. It's that whole saying of, you know, I'm always, as an entrepreneur, I'm always willing to run from something, but I'm never usually willing to run to something. And that comes down to, crap, you know, when I'm in a corner, I'll perform. But if I just got to perform for me and my family and everything's fine, a lot of guys, they won't do that. So as I've watched how people panicked beforehand, got money, then changed behavior afterwards, it's been very interesting how the same shop owner has gone through these different phases over the last 90 to 120 days. It's all going to settle out in the end. Sadly, I think the people that didn't have money will end up without money, and the people that had money will end up with more money, more customers, more market share. I'm hoping that with our group and other groups out there, you know, our competitors that are great coaching companies, I'm hoping all of us can encourage the shop owners to save the money, to secure a future, because I'm telling you guys, we are coming into the busiest freaking summer of our lives. And if it hasn't hit where you're at, it's going to hit. We have not just 17.1 million last year, the last like 5-6 years. Like it's never been at this level. And then on top of that, we've got people keeping cars longer. People have more cars in one family than ever. And the craziest part is cities are putting moratoriums on auto repair shops. They don't want any more. So that means cars are outrunning bays more than ever. It's just an absolutely enormous opportunity. You got, I mean, think about it. You could have picked any industry and you're in auto repair right after a period of time when everybody's planning on keeping their car, you've got more cash than you've ever had in your life, and you've got so many resources to make your business successful. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better recipe for success. I mean, this is a very unique, special opportunity for our industry.
No, and I totally agree. And that next step, as we switch to the next slide and we talk a little bit about the owner's mindset, I think this is the important part. And you actually gave me a great lesson in that. It's funny, I was thinking, I'm just a marketing guy, I've got a lot of operational experience, but I'm a marketing guy. I'm thinking, how do you market? And you were able to stop me and say, hey, Tim, the first part is this owner, right? Of how is this owner showing leadership? How are they motivating their team? How are they going to create growth? Because marketing doesn't cost you anything, right? Marketing can be, the greatest thing I love about auto repair is that all your customers are right on your computer in front of you, right? And so do you have a plan to go after those folks? So talk a little bit about, what do you teach, in ShopFix? And honestly, what do you instill in your own management team on the leadership skills they need to have, the motivation they need to have to drive that team growth? Can you talk a little bit about that mindset? Because I think you've seen there's a lot of them that have this beat dog feeling, and they don't have this passion you and I have. How do we get them out of that funk?
Well, a lot of times they're in a desert. They haven't had a win. Maybe their spouse doesn't support them. Maybe their key guy just quit. They got some PPP money. Who cares? I don't got a business anyway. And that all happens from a lack of vision. When you start to let that dream fade, it's kind of, I'm gonna draw here. That's my easy way to explain it. So you're standing here and you've got this mental image in your head, right? And so you drew up this idea and you said, I'm gonna have myself a beautiful repair shop, and my shop's gonna be the best in town, and I can't wait to get my shop open, and it's just gonna be an amazing, awesome time. And they've got this little image. Well, then reality hits and it sucks. It's nothing like this dream. And then what ends up happening is they lose that dream. And see, this dream right here is leading towards their reality, right? The reality is out here somewhere in this fuzziness. But the problem is they're not getting to it. And instead of this actually leading to this, right? The ideal is in the future. But what we have to understand is the ideal is like a sunset. You see it, the horizon, you'll never actually get there. You can always appreciate its beauty and how awesome it is. You never get there. But the problem is when we start measuring our vision against the ideal and we get disappointed, we start to block it out. And when we start to block it out and we can't get to that next place because this literally shifts right here and all we see is failure. We see just horrible things happening. Instead, we should look backwards, right? We should look back here to our past. And back here, we had this bumpy road, this, but we finally got up to this point, and we should be proud of that past. We should go, man, look what I've been through. Look where I came from. We don't allow ourselves to do that. And so what ends up happening is we're always focused on looking forward, and we just see this failure. My tech quit, my advisor quit, my location sucks, my spouse doesn't encourage me, nobody backs me up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when you continue to do this over and over and over, you find yourself only focusing on the failure and not going, man, look at all this success I've had. I mean, I sucked. And look, I got all the way to here. I mean, I've done good. And so we really actually need to spend 70, 80% of our time looking at where we've come from and pumping ourselves up. Instead of saying, I've not had a win in forever, I'm a loser, and just focus back here. And then this will just take care of itself. You'll get here. But then when you get here, there'll be another sunset, another horizon, another ideal situation. You'll want 20 bays. And when someday you have 20, you're going to say, man, what would it be like to have 40? What would it be like to have 5 locations, 10 locations? And you'll always have a dream. Mm-hmm. But when today's dream doesn't work out, that's the issue. So I want to encourage everybody, guys, come on. The way you pick this stuff back up is you say, man, what was it like when I was first opening my shop? Maybe you're a young man, maybe you were in your early 20s, maybe you were in your 40s, you quit the dealer and you went to open your shop. What was it like then? What were your dreams? What were you so excited about? And along that, you probably asked, maybe you also had a dream to own a Mustang or a diesel truck or a beach house, or remodeling your house, or maybe a bigger home, or maybe you had a dream of working out and getting in shape, whatever. What I want to encourage you to do is go back to some of those little dreams, because dreams fall like dominoes, right? Like in your life, when you have a dream fall, it's like this dream's laying down, then this dream, then this dream, then this dream, and they slowly are standing back up, right? Well, this dream here is up. You've achieved that. Maybe it's buying your own house, and then something else, something else. If you come down here and try to pick this up, you're picking up the weight of all these fallen dreams. You won't be able to. So I'm going to encourage you to walk over here, straighten this one out, and come to the next one, come to the next one, and these are smaller dreams. Go back and find your small dreams that you let slide. Resurrect those. Maybe it's to put a garden in the backyard. Maybe it's redoing the deck. It doesn't have to be huge. Give yourself some accomplishments, some wins, because whether we admit it or not, this is an emotional game. We are humans. And if you're emotionally burned out and tired, it's way worse than being physically tired. So I hope that helps give somebody some strategy and give them some ideas on how they can get their brain thinking properly to motivate. Because that's the reason you can't motivate your staff. Because you give from within. If you don't got it, you can't do it. So you got to go take care of you so that you can go and tell your staff, man, let's crush this. We're going to do it, and start telling about your dream again. Because if you're not telling about your dream, it's because you don't believe it'll happen.
And let me ask you that. I think that's so powerful, is that a lot of these owners are coming back in and they're having to rebuild. They had to furlough some people, could have been a technician, could have been service advisor. So now they're kind of getting back in the game. How do you staff back up, and what's the language that we use with the existing team? Because I think there's probably some people that, I know I talked to a lot of owners, and a lot of folks agreed to take some voluntary pay cuts. Sometimes that's in rates, sometimes that's in reduced hours. Now we know that it's starting to come back up, you swing back up and restart the business. What would you think some of those kind of communications need to be from an owner about, staffing up and getting kind of wages back to normal, and kind of, that was a very demotivating factor, right, for a lot of their team. And it was probably, I know I talked to a lot of people, it was just heart-wrenching for them to have to tell a 20 year plus employee, man, the only way I can keep you is I got to pay you half, man. I know that's going to hurt, but I can't survive. What's a good way, I think, of stepping through that? Because those were some tough conversations.
I think that we had to do some of that. We had to cut people's pay back from 40, not 40, probably 50 to, I shouldn't say cut it back. We took it down to 50 to 65% of what they were making. Our lower paid people obviously didn't have near as big of a pay cut as a highly paid person, but that's a tough deal. But when you tell them we're not letting anybody go, no one's being laid off, we're keeping everybody, but we're going to do this across the board, and you do it in person, which I did. I went with my brother and we went to every location and we told everybody in person, hey, this is what's happening. And as soon as it lets up, we told them we're doing it for the month of April. And we said, as soon as we get to May 1st, we'll go right back to our commission pay plans. And if the market's not here, we'll go to May 15th. And if the market still isn't here, we'll go to June 1st. We'll just keep taking it step by step. And that's how we did it. We opened 2 or 3 stores back to normal May 1st, and a couple of them wasn't until May 15th. But by the end of the month, we felt confident that we could definitely go into June like that. But they were appreciating that we weren't laying people off. And here's the thing, your staff, if you don't have staff, you have nothing, right? If you let people walk out the door, it's like playing musical chairs. And when the music stops, you're not going to have a chair to sit on. And this music has stopped. Guys, the music has stopped. We are busy. We are getting busier every day. It is crazy out there. It's going to be nuts this summer. If you don't have a staff, you're basically, if you had, Aaron, I had 8 people and I fired them all. Okay, you're the guy without a chair. You're falling on your butt. You cannot get caught with this. I had several conversations with different people, even with Greg Sands about this. I was like, I don't care who it is. If you let staff walk out the door and go live off of unemployment, you might as well close your doors. I don't care what it costs you. You pay them to keep coming to work. You've got to. You've got to come out, because I knew this summer would be insane. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, okay, the most cars we've ever sold ever in history over 5 years. People now are scared to buy new cars. People are now scared to get on planes. People have more money than ever in their pocket. The government's just printing money and mailing it to them in their mailbox. Why would we not? I mean, dirt bike sales, jet ski sales, boat sales, RV sales, side-by-side sales, you name it. If it has to go, I mean, right now, try to find a used jet ski. You'll find something from 1970 on Craigslist. You can't even find one. I mean, people are buying all the toys they can buy. And when the economy turns down, it's because people have lost confidence in the economy. There's not, I don't know about you, Tim, I'm not seeing any sign that people have lost any confidence in the economy.
Yeah,
they're not confident in their health, but people are spending money like it's just growing on trees right now. So we've got to see that. I mean, it does not take, I don't have to be a genius to say, I think we're going to get a little busier this summer. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, so, and I think people, and I love that, and I think people should know that, you know, unlike some of the prior, you know, 2008 and 2001, those areas, there was an incident. This isn't a financial meltdown or an IT bubble. This was a virus-driven shutdown that once it cranks back up, it's cranking, people are ready to roll. So, and remember, you guys are traditionally targeting, through your marketing, you're targeting higher income customers that have spendable income too. So you're not going after, you know, some of these lower end homes. You might have to have some of them as customers, sure, but you have that going for you as well. You know, one of the questions, Aaron, that came up was about technicians. And I know that you said, hey, you know, hopefully you kept them. But one of the questions that came about before was, you know, how do I start looking for technicians now as I open back up? And is it easier to find them now, or just as hard? Or I mean, what are you hearing out there?
It's way harder. It's actually much harder. And this is going back to what I was saying before about not letting your team walk out the door. An okay technician right now, if they're working for you, are probably worth $10 more an hour if they were to quit and you had to hire them back. Across the board. I'm seeing this across the country. There are so many, we're busier, so we need more technicians. But the biggest issue, there's probably 20% of the workforce sitting at home on unemployment until July is over. And hopefully Congress does not pass more unemployment, because right now they're getting $600 a week plus the state level, which is anywhere from what, $150 to $250 a week. So the potential of making it $850 a week now is potentially possible. So if someone you know, thought they might go down to $550 a week, if the government cuts it in half, which is one of the options they have on the table, would they stay home? Would they go to work? I mean, none of us know. It's getting a little bit more painful at that point. But the guys, if they just turn it off, you're going to see everybody rush back. But I've got friends in every industry here. They can't get anybody. Restaurants, dry cleaners, more auto repair shops. I mean, they can't get anyone to even interview. It is absolutely nuts out there. I'm seeing people dropping $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 bonuses to get technicians to show up.
Wow.
We've got clients in small cities, way out in rural America, and they are having just the worst. They're busier than they've ever been, working straight through the weekends. Dads that haven't worked on cars and trucks in forever are back in the shop working, just trying to survive. And they're making so much money, it's insane, but they don't have a life. They can't find any technicians. So everybody out there, the first thing you got to do is shore up what you have, even if they're not your desired team. Even if, as Mike Brewster would say, even if it's not your dream team, it's your team. Shore them up. Don't let them go anywhere. This is not the time, I'm just, you know, I don't need him. Don't get arrogant right now. We had a window where we were able to get some techs in April. We've since passed that window, and now everybody who's working is working. All the good ones, they didn't take unemployment. They were making so much money they couldn't afford to drop out or drop down to only $850 a week. But all your B-level techs, I mean, guys, it's even C-level. It is rough out there. Hiring GSs is incredibly difficult. It's just a tough environment to get a GS or a porter, even some service advisors in some cases. But the great thing about an advisor is you can pull them from any industry. On the shop side, you can't go get a plumber and make him a mechanic. So I would encourage you, if you have a team, even a group of guys that resembles a team, hang on to them at all costs until this unemployment runs out and people start coming back into the workforce. Once that happens, things will get somewhat back to normal. In fact, you might even be able to find some guys for a deal. But right now, it is not a good time to be trying to find technicians. And I'm hearing that from Alaska to Hawaii to all over the lower 48.
No, and I can only imagine the challenges, trying to reopen a business and convince a technician to come to a business that's not really rocking. So let's go on to the next slide. This is something that we talked about, and you reminded me about, is jumpstarting your marketing. And guys, this is we're not talking about, hey, let's sell you guys some marketing, but let's talk about how you're growing your business, because there's a lot of ways to grow the business. A lot of you guys are using multiple tactics, but I think the key, Aaron, that you were, kind of stressing to me in our preliminary talks were, guys, you got to get out in front of customers because they're driving and not flying, because they're holding onto their cars. If you don't get out in front of your customers in whatever way that is, by phone, by mail, online, on email, whatever it is, you're just missing out. So talk about your philosophy kind of on marketing, because some people did nothing, shut the shop down, zero marketing. Others just toned it down. A lot of Greg Sands folks, and Greg's one of our customers as well, dropped it down 50%. Some people in some markets, man, they never stopped, they never missed a beat. So tell us a little bit about what you're hearing, what you're doing, what your thoughts are in general about marketing to get your shop growing.
So in March, my marketing was normal. In April, and Tim can attest to that, I didn't change anything with my flyers. The flyers kept going as they always do, didn't stop. My radio, I pulled back in April. And then in May, as soon as people started driving, I ramped my radio right back up because there was just nobody in the car. But think about it now. Now somebody on vacation is on their way out of Nashville, heading to the beach down in Florida. They get on 65, start heading south. The stations I advertise on are 100,000 watt stations. They can hear them all the way up in southern Kentucky and into northern Alabama. So they can hear me for 2 hours. Why would I not start advertising like crazy on the radio? Same thing with Facebook, any type of digital, it doesn't matter. TV, if you're in a small local market. And radio really can only work if you are in a small town, or if you've got a chain. It's not really affordable for a single operator. But the point is, you cannot, and even AdWords, our AdWords went through the roof because obviously we didn't have as much competition bidding on AdWords. So our AdWords went through the roof in those months. We just kept it full blown, even though car count slowed down. We had to. And now I'm tracking a record month and my competition's not. I'm taking market share. People came and tried us for an oil change, were impressed, said, I'm gonna go there next time. And when they did that, they looked back at their last shop and like, why did I ever go over there? So it was a huge advantage. So many people make the mistake of, hey, it slowed down, I'm gonna pull back on marketing. It makes no sense to me. I get it. It's scary in the moment. You're like, what if it never comes back? It always comes back.
Well, and for those out there, guys, if you have questions, now's a good time to start kind of talking through any kind of questions you might have. You guys can type in that question in the box and kind of hit send. We'll cover as many as we can. Try to keep this to about 45 minutes. So we have about 15 minutes left. One of the things, Aaron, that it's funny that as I talk to hundreds of shops, it seems like everybody's thought on the marketing was different. Meaning, those that seem to continue to get in front of people are jump starting a little bit faster than those that aren't. But I get people who say, well, I don't have any money, I can't start my business. I can't restart my business. What are some inexpensive things like callbacks you talk about that can really help people jumpstart their business? Because I think sometimes people forget about that. And I saw a great article or training topic from ShopFix actually recently from a couple of my customers who are your customers, who said, man, this is what I'm doing and it's working great. So maybe talk to people about, hey, listen, you can put money in postcards, you can put money in radio, you can put it in Facebook, pay-per-clicks. But outside of that, how can they engage their community and their people without really spending that much money?
Yeah, so a couple simple things you can do. For everybody out there that's trying to figure out, what do I do next and I have no cash, or maybe you're afraid to spend it and you got it, you're just afraid. If I was starting out right now and I was trying to do some guerrilla marketing, I'd have a sidewalk sign. something I could drag out into the street and drag back if I have decent traffic. If I'm in an industrial park, that's not going to work, but if I have decent traffic, I'm going to do that. Also, if I'm in maybe a downtown environment where mailers wouldn't work anyway, unless I'm mailing to the apartment owners and they don't drive much, in that scenario. And so I'm going, okay, how do I get the mailers to the right people? And you tend to find out, okay, who's driving where. And when I had to learn this on my downtown store, I had to figure out with mailers what pockets worked. Somebody that was right in downtown, if they were driving 30 minutes away for work, that'd be great. But if they're walking, they weren't going to respond. So I had to get very aggressive on oil changes and timely services with my flyers. But I figured out that Pandora, which has twice the ratings, as far as commercials go, probably twice the ratings that Spotify does, and actually panders more to people with money than Spotify. Spotify really goes after a younger generation, and Pandora right now just has higher ratings than Spotify. So I started leaning towards Pandora when I was in the city because people are working at a computer and they're listening to it in the background. Flyers, it's not legal, but I'd take a flyer and I'd go slap it under a windshield wiper until I got called. They told me to stop, and I'd be like, okay. And I'd wait a month. I'd go do it again. I'd take business cards, slide them in the driver's side door window seal right there on the side, so they'd see it right when they open the door handle. I like that better than even putting it on the windshield, because a lot of times they get in the car and they just turn on the wiper to make it blow away. 6-month callbacks are huge. If you sit down at your desk and you do 6-month callbacks and you call every client you've ever had in your shop for the next 5 days, every single phone number you've got, you will be slammed for the next 3-4 weeks. Slammed. It'll give it 2-3 days, because they're going, man, that check engine light's on. Where am I going to go? Oh, I got a voicemail from Aaron over at Crazy Aaron's Automotive Emporium. Well, let's go back over there. We'll go see Crazy Aaron. And that's what happens. And it can come down to, even cheap things like ringless voicemail. Super cheap. My Shop Manager, Mechanic Advisor, where you can send out blasts of text messages, super cheap. Here's the problem. You could send out 500 text messages and you won't get near the response percentage-wise as you would with 6-month callbacks. However, you'll hit more people at once. So you got to weigh it out. But there's a lot of things you can do that are very cheap and aren't expensive. On your own personal Facebook page, a lot of you don't want to do that. But there's people that know, like, and love you, and they would listen to you if you did it there. So there's a lot of ways to get your business going again. And right now, the work is there. I'm telling you, the work is there.
Yeah, and I tell you guys, if you don't have those 6-month callback scripts or warranty callbacks or even customer appreciation callbacks, I know Aaron's got a lot of creative ways that his team teaches people to use those. I would tell you, if you're a part of his group, I would encourage you guys to dig in there, ask a coach. If you're part of a different group, or if you've heard Greg Sands talk, I mean, all very similar stuff, guys, but getting out in front of your customers is just so easy and so critical that it's important. So Aaron, some of the other questions that have come up that I wanted to talk through as well. And guys, if you have some questions, we have about 10 minutes left. I just want to make sure if you've got a few more questions, we'll try to get to as many as we can. But one of the questions that came up, Aaron, was about community connection. And for this particular person, community connection is important to their marketing campaign. He was trying to figure out, how can we continue this trend and not seem insensitive or uncaring, meaning they want to get out there in the community, but some communities you got to wear masks or social distancing. I'm sure community connection can probably mean a lot of different things, but any ideas on how to connect with your community and kind of not seem like the insensitive person who's kind of in your face about, this with the virus and all?
Yeah. So when it comes to balancing the people that are scared to death and the people that are like wanting to make out with everybody, there's somewhere in the middle. You can't be so insensitive to the people that are scared, but you also can't ignore the ones that are like, I'm fine, I'm not worried about this at all. And so to acknowledge the two, you have to understand your audience. So for a conference like us, when ShopFix, we've got a big conference coming up. So when our conference happens, we're going to be paying attention to the hallways. We're going to be paying attention to the small classrooms. We won't be able to pack out a small classroom. We're going to have a no handshaking, no hugging rule, which everybody hates, but we got to do it. So it's elbows only, right? So Tim and I will be elbowing it out. But here's the issue. I am studying as much as I can on this. I'm not worried about it. Someone else, maybe they just watch the news 24/7. They're worried about it. For me to get them to change their mind, me telling them, you're fine, come here, give me a hug, is not going to make them change their mind. Me maybe wearing a mask might make them feel better, but maybe for me, it's too far. I'm just giving examples. This is all rhetorical. Maybe I want to shake their hand. Maybe they don't want to. But just about anybody I could do an elbow with. I'm showing them a sign of respect. I'm kind of meeting them in the middle. I could do this with my customers up front. But the best way to get past COVID is to stop talking about COVID. The only reason we're all thinking about it is because it's just top of mind. I mean, people kind of got tired of it. Then we had all the, the riots and the protests, and then, things got amped up, and then COVID came right back again. So people are still talking about it. They're talking about how all the, the tests are up. Everybody's new cases are up. Nobody's talking about the fact that we're testing like 3 times as much as we've ever tested because the private sector got involved. Now private companies can do testing and bill the state for it. I mean, I've had several people come here to our business, knock on our door and offer to test everybody for us for free, and they'll bill the state. I mean, Americans, if they can chase a dollar, they're going to figure out a way to do it. So they're doing those tests. Hospitalizations aren't up. I just checked this yesterday. Hospitalizations aren't up. Death rates are down. So you've got to make sure they're just going to say in the news whatever they got to say to freak people out. You just got to be part of that calm voice and go, okay, you know what? I get it. The virus is a bad virus. I get it. But I can't stop living life.
Right.
There's so many other things that are happening. I can't stop living life. You got to move forward.
Well, I think that's the important side of it. And I've heard the same stats, and I've encouraged all the customers that we work with to really, you got to do what you're comfortable with, but understand, like you said, others are more or less comfortable. And a lot of folks, on the marketing they're putting out, regardless of what that is, whether it's someone calling in or you have it on the street, postcard, email, whatever it may be, there's a lot of people that are doing a really good job, talking about their concierge services, their contactless payment process, their, ability to wipe cars down and disinfect them. Some people have gotten very ingenious. If you've noticed on television now, people are selling disinfectant services, right? Where you get ServPro will come in there and disinfect everything. So people are finding, ways to interact and communicate with the community in a positive way to grow their business without being in a negative light.
Yeah, it's so funny. Before everything was green this and green that, and people now are like, screw green. I want you to bleach the whole inside of my car.
That's right. Bleach it down. I don't care about the chemicals.
Leave it wet. I don't even want you to wipe it off.
Yeah, don't even go in my car, right? One of the last questions we'll touch on, guys, and if you have some questions, I'll give you another little window here. We've got about 5 minutes here. Last question was, and this is a pretty good question, actually. If there's just one thing I could do different with my shop after COVID to make a difference, what would that be? Man, that's a big, you could talk staffing, you could talk about operations, you could talk about marketing, you could talk about leadership. That's a pretty good question. What do you think, Aaron? What are a couple of things maybe that come to mind, or things that would, impact? Maybe things, what I found is people have done a really good job of re-engineering themselves, and doing things at their shop that I think they thought maybe was a temporary thing to get through this COVID that actually is a really good idea. And it's really become a difference maker at their shop.
You can do the free pickup and drop off. You can disinfect, wipe cars down, etc. We're wiping all the cars down. We wore gloves already for grease, so we didn't have to change anything there. I really believe that everybody out there needs to understand this is why you have a rainy day fund. We came into this with 228,000 repair shops roughly, last time I Googled. And out of that 228,000, who knows how many were mom and pop versus corporate type franchise stores, etc. But there's going to be less after this, and it's going to be because People did not have enough money in the bank. They were skating too close to the edge, too many loans, too much debt, always chasing the possible future, not thinking about what could go wrong. We're all victims of something at any point. Like, remember when Hurricane Sandy hit, whenever any other hurricane hit, all the way back to, any of the major hurricanes we've even had in the Gulf. I mean, the Gulf's always getting hit. And they're prepared for it. They know at some point, if you live in Florida, Texas, Louisiana, you're going to get flooded. Houston just got flooded. Katrina, 15 years ago. Something's going to happen. Nashville got flooded 10 years ago, not by anything but a storm. It wasn't even a hurricane. Earthquakes in California. You're in Oklahoma. Tornadoes. Your market. Your area, and something can happen. This is the first time, though, the whole country got hit at once. The whole country. You've got to be prepared, because the beauty of this is it created an opening for you to gain market share and come out stronger. Well, what does that mean 3 years from now? 3 years from now, you're on the other side and you're actually stronger than this guy over here. Maybe you took the PPP money. Maybe you took the idle money. He didn't. Maybe he thought he'd be fine. He has a bump in the road this fall. Guys, this is an election year. It's going to get nastier come November. And if things get real crazy around November, all of a sudden, here you are. You're strong, money in the bank. You've gained market share. You could swoop up, pick up another location. Maybe he closes down. You just absorb all those customers. It doesn't matter. The point is, you secured your future. So if you had to do anything today to make your business better tomorrow, it would be, don't blow all your money. Save, 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 save. Always have cash sitting around. I want your back hurting so bad from all the cash you've stuffed under that mattress that you can't sleep at night. Because if you've got money in the bank, you can resist this stuff. You can make it through. That's the biggest thing I can tell everybody. I was preaching savings right before all this happened. I wish I'd been preaching it a lot more. I was just lightly touching on it, but we hadn't had anything go wrong.
Right.
But here we are.
And I would tell you, one of the things I see out there too, guys, is not to take your customers for granted, or some of your employees for granted. There's a lot of competition. It kind of goes hand in hand with the saving side of it is, back, before COVID hit, you probably had maybe more work than you could handle, right? And now you're struggling. So you got to ask yourself, were you selective on who you did business with? Did you have the yes mentality when people came in? Did you really try to help them the best you can? It's funny, your analogy about, I remember you taught a class way back in the day, and I've heard it from a few people, but one of the things that stuck to me in your class was, do you answer the phone today like you answered the phone when you started your company, right? That same passion and motivation. Do you handle that customer who might be the only customer you see, but you just opened your business and you're really trying to make an impact? And do you do that now, 10 years from when you started? So talk about that. I thought that lesson that you taught, and you talked a little bit about it behind you on looking at the past goals. How do you think that can make a store better or a company better?
Rick Hendrick of the Hendrick Automotive Group has a great quote. I'm going to try not to mess it up. He says, in good times, bad habits are created in good times. Good habits are created in bad times. Guys, we just left the good times. And we had a lot of bad habits. And, volume covers up a lot of sin, as my buddy Mike likes to say. So we're on the other side of this, and we're going, oh, crap, you mean how we answer the phone makes a difference? Johnny needs to stop smoking on the front counter? Really? We don't need that Coke machine in the lobby? So you've got to stop and you got to see for a second that where your business is right now, you got to go question all the stuff you've been doing before. All those bad habits that you had before, it started during those good times because it didn't matter. You didn't really even see the effect of the bad habit. But now we're in the bad times. Now, man, dude, if we just present correctly to this customer, if we monitor our billing correctly, if we watch our margins better, if we market this over here like we're supposed to, if we do this, and we follow this stuff. Let me just point something out. I've had just a rash of this where people are calling with problems in our own group, and they're telling us crazy situations. And I'm going, well, man, that's crazy. I'm listening. And like, Aaron, do you think it's this? And it's this complicated answer they've come up with. I was like, well, could it be that Johnny over here just doesn't have a laptop at his station? He's walking over and using so-and-so's and not got the right whatever, and it's causing this problem. And they're like, oh, crap, I never thought of that. Something so basic. Don't look for the complicated answer. Look for the simple answer. The basics are where you make money. The complicated stuff is where you fine tune. That's where you find a whole new level. But the basics of making money are the basics. Answer the phone right. Inspect every single car. Sell it right. Oh, and by the way, can we fix it right the first time? Let's just go all the way back. Let's just do that first. Let's actually make that check engine light turn off. If we can just get the basics done. People like to say in the good times, oh man, it ain't enough just to fix the car right. I meet a lot of shop owners that offer no extra services and just do the best work in town and are blown out all the time. It does work. It's a model that works. Because I'm sorry, cars are so freaking complicated, nobody ever gets it right anymore. It's not like the 80s. So we've got to make sure we pause and we think and we look back at our business and say, all right, did we just fix the car, put taillights in it, and pop the taillights back into the insert and put the carpet back? So when Miss Daisy goes to Publix and she pops the trunk to put the milk in there, she doesn't find her taillights laying on the floorboard. Oh, can we just remember to get our snap-on flashlight out of the center console next to the shifter? Can we just remember to put the seat back in little old lady's seat position? I know you're a 6'5" mechanic, but the woman that owns the car is 4'9". Can we just put it back where she had it? Because she's going to get in there, her little feet are going to be kicking, she's going to hit that button, it's going to be taking forever to scoots back up to the front. You know, we got to make sure we're thinking about this stuff. That's where the money's made. Is your technician leaving rap music cranked up on the radio when he did his test drive? I mean, are we making sure there's no grease in the car? Did we put the belly pan back? Did we put the engine cover back? Did we just latch the hood all the way? Oh, did we park a car out front done, ready to be picked up, and one of the tires is almost flat? I saw that at one of my stores the other day. I'm like, can somebody, oh, we saw that, we forgot to go check. Why did it ever go out front? Every one of us has these issues. The basics are where the money is made. Just the basics.
It's funny.
Go ahead.
No, it's funny when I played soccer in college, and you know, these guys that most of us have been playing for years and years and years. And the first week, we did nothing but pass, trap, run. So I think the onus as we close out the webinar, guys, is save your money, cash, and get back to the basics. Any parting thoughts? So we don't have any time for additional questions, but Aaron, what would you like to leave this crew with? Because there's a lot of people that signed on to the webinar, but a lot of you guys we're recording this webinar as well. It'll be on our Learning Center. We'll get thousands and thousands of people hit this webinar here in the next couple of months. What's your parting thoughts, Aaron, as we turn the corner? We're not going to say that nasty virus name anymore, but how do we move forward?
Take care of the crew you got. That's number one. You may not have them in the future. Be aware that pay raises are going to be happening as people are demanding higher numbers to get these technicians. Right now, be vigilant about going after technicians. Even guys that don't want to tell you they're on unemployment, but they're just acting kind of a little apathetic, not real interested in interviewing, but they'll talk on the phone. They don't really want to come in. Keep in touch with those guys, because you're going to need to hire people, and they're going to become available in the next month or so as unemployment slows down. Hopefully the Congress doesn't pass another 6 months of it. We'll see what happens there. We're not in control of that, but what we can control is that piece. Don't stop marketing. And here's the biggest thing of all. I'm gonna just paint this picture. It's the best time of your life to be in auto repair.
Amen.
Just the biggest vision you can think of. Go make it happen. Go make it happen. Even if you can't pull it off today, you can over the long haul. This will be an amazing summer for all of us.
Amen. And Aaron, thank you guys. Thank you so much for spending some time. Those of you guys on the phone, those of you guys listening, if you have additional questions, you can go to grow@upswellmarketing.com. We are going to be sending out a follow-up email. It's going to have Aaron's contact information, so you can get in touch with him or anybody on his team if you have questions from him or one of his coaches. I'm sure he'll be happy to help out. Aaron and I have one thing that we're both equally passionate about outside of the man above, and that would be passion for people. And we both got into this business to help people, and that's our passion. So reach out, look for an email. My wonderful marketing director, Sydney, will be sending out an email follow-up with you guys. It'll have the link. It'll have contact information for Aaron, and you guys can always reach out to us. I'm going to try to talk Aaron into coming on a couple of these with me towards the end of the year as well. But if you guys aren't signed up to go to the ShopFix Academy coming up in July 31st in
July
beautiful
31st
Nashville,
and August 1st. Shop Hackers.
I tell you what, guys, if you've never been to an event, and I don't care if you're not a member of the Academy, you got to go to this event, man. I've been to this event. There was like 500 owners at this event, and there's a lot more now. And so you will rub shoulders with more people that are in the same trenches as you are than any other event in the entire country. I don't care what association you guys are a part of. This particular event has the most decision maker owners, and Aaron always has some incredible speakers. And he always tells nobody what his plans are. It's completely top secret. So it's like a trick or treat for adults when you go to a ShopFix Academy event. So
yeah, we got some special surprises lined up. You got to be there July 31st, August 1st in Nashville is where you fly to. We're going to be in a suburb here called Murfreesboro, just outside of town, but fly into Nashville or drive. We were just talking about driving. But it's going to be an amazing event. We're going to have everybody, we'll be doing the social distancing. Everybody will have plenty of room. It's a huge hotel. We got 66,000 square feet of meeting space. So it's massive. We got a ton of sponsors coming out, guys like Tim and others. And it's going to be an amazing event with the guest speakers, like he said. You can check it out at shophackersconference.com. That is shophackersconference.com. And if you don't have any of our free info, you can go to our Facebook page for ShopFix Academy. You can click join the free group, and that'll take you over to the Shop Hackers Facebook group. You can join there. You must answer questions to get in. But he's right. It's all owners. It's not technicians. It's not advisors. It's literally all owners. So we don't honestly think there is a higher concentration of owners, like a larger group, at any conference in the country. Because I've pulled stats on all the other conferences, and it's a ton of technicians. It's a ton of advisors. There will be more people at your level at this event than any other event. So I would highly encourage you to be there.
yeah, and guys, Sydney, marketing director, will be including all that in our follow-up email. So thousands of you guys are going to see it. We're very excited to be a part of it. Aaron, I can't thank you enough for your time. I will absolutely follow up with you later this week, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much again.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.